Awesome. And we're here with Nardwuar, the Human Serviette, which is a dream interview for us as arts journalists. Like, we really look up to you and really have enjoyed watching your videos so much. So it's just a dream to get to talk to you. So thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thanks so much for having me at the UBC Audiovisual CiTR Library Collaboration.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, we're here at your old stomping ground, CiTR. We're wondering, how has it changed over the years? What's it like sort of coming back every year? It moved to a new building, lots of changes.
Well,
What's that been like?
The building move was a big thing. That was, I think, in like 2015, and now we're in the nest. But to me, there was sort of like a familiar feeling because I'm in the record library, and when I look at the record library, green means international. Around the corner, red means Canadian, and blue means compilation records, and there's a whole bunch of 45s here as well. We used to have like a unique numbering system, but now we have it actually by numbers. It used to be like B8, B9, B10, but now it's actually by numbers. I think they actually changed the record library. I think it was probably like in like 2012 before the move. But to answer your question, now they are right here, surrounded by records, and it feels kind of the same. I feel at home.
Yeah, and from what I understand, CiTR, you have to air like very specific artists, different types of artists when you do a show. Like, so I guess this organization is very important to not lose track of things. But
well, for CiTR, we kind of like to expose people to thoughts and ideas that they haven't heard before. And there's nothing wrong with the same old thoughts and ideas. It's just, why should we regurgitate them back? So for us, a great place to find thoughts and ideas and music is in the record library. That's where at least was pre-internet. And actually post-internet now, it's a great place to find music as well.
And you were just telling us about the show that you're going to be hosting later today and how you like doing everything on vinyl. So I guess this is a great place for you to find things.
It's amazing. Like, the CiTR Record Library is one of the first places to me that I was exposed to like music. I was like, I joined CiTR at first. I did not have a radio show, but I was just happy to be in the CiTR lounge and explore and find all the different music. And if you notice right over there, there's a turntable. So there's a listening station. So you can grab music and then listen to it right there on the turntable. And if you go through different records, you can see some grease marks on them. And unfortunately, that was from me. At lunchtime, I would come to CiTR, I'd listen to music, eat my sandwich, and unfortunately, it would cause a smudge mark. It's okay though, because I didn't actually touch the record.
So the no food sign over there is because of you?
Well, in the listening lounge, in the time when I first joined CiTR, you were allowed to eat in the listening room because it's the listening room. But now I think it has changed. You aren't allowed to eat in the actual listening record library. So I was allowed to bring a sandwich in. I was allowed to bring a sandwich in.
What's the coolest thing you found in here?
Well, unfortunately, what I've heard over the years is people have plundered the record collection for rare records. In fact, somebody stole the Nirvana Love Buzz 7-inch that is now one of the most valuable records ever released. It might be over like $10,000. And it was in the CiTR Record Library. So when I think of the CiTR Record Library, I think the records actually that might have been stolen by people. Because people joined CiTR, they'd steal the record, and then they tried to trade it in. So if you ever see a record and it has like CiTR or a radio station written on it, ask the store where they got it. Because a lot of times people just come to the radio station, and just traded in records and got money for that. So that's what I think of, like the Nirvana record. But also I think of like the amazing collection. Like when I joined CiTR, to have access to like all this type of music was incredible. Like I could not believe it. Like anything I wanted was right here. Now through the internet, I guess you can find anything. But for me, it's like, oh my God. And like I could like find it and I could hold the record. Like this like a 10-inch record. This is like amazing. A holy grail record. So to me, it was a chance to be able to dig down and explore records and just grab something randomly, you know.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience. Yeah.
Well, the reason for the season today, the reason why you're here is because of the fund drive, right? The CiTR fund drive. So that's one of the main things that allows CiTR to maintain such a big collection. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, the history of that and how it's going now?
Well, CiTR is lucky enough to be supported by the student union. Like, some money is given. I think you would know more about this. Like, every time people pay their student fees, some goes to CiTR. But some is set aside through fund drive to raise money for CiTR. And you think, oh, I've talked about the music, but we also put out the Scorter magazine, our station program guide. And that needs funding. And we've had like a fund drive to help support some of the extra stuff and to buy extra equipment. It's really sort of like pricey to buy stuff, especially when you're talking like I don't know if you can like pan right over here, but you can see like the needle on that turntable right there. That isn't cheap. So that's sort of the kind of some of the stuff that the CiTR fund drive will get around. Like the student fees, get the general maintenance of the station, some of the employees as well. But the fund drive really helps cement and helps fund the stuff that maybe isn't covered in the actual student fees allocation of money for CiTR, like the needles, like the Scorter magazine. And the Scorter magazine, for me, it's amazing. Like 18,000 copies distributed across the Lower Mainland, print an actual publication that see your name in the Scorter. Like every time I wrote something for the Scorter, I'd like cut it out and put it in like a photo album. It's like amazing to preserve it. But now everything is online. So just the fact that like you could do a show, this would be the ultimate thing for CiTR is like you do your radio show, right? Live. You transcribe the interview for the Scorter, and now you could like edit your interview for YouTube, and automatically CiTR has a podcast. Every show is on podcast since 2006. I first joined CiTR in 1986, and there wasn't podcasting till 2006. So think about all that lost history. Mm-hmm. Some stuff was preserved by individual DJs, but it wasn't blanketly, preserved. What about the UBC? What about your old archives of the UBC? Are those preserved online?
Yeah.
Old episodes, old issues.
Yeah, we put everything in a bound book at the end of the year. We give a couple copies to the library. They digitize everything. That actually, we brought one because we were looking through and we found, if I can flip to it, a few pieces that your mother wrote for us over the years. She was an arts reporter for us, it seems, and was pretty active during this year. We bookmarked a few.
That's amazing. Yeah, my mom went to UBC, and she gave me a tour of UBC before I came here. And actually, I remember she told me that one of her teaching assistants was Allen Ginsberg.
Oh, wow.
That was amazing. like 5 people, like suddenly he walked in, he was a teaching assistant. But yeah, this is amazing. And a lot of this actually is online, isn't it?
Yes,
where people can actually check out. And the thing is, CiTR has some archives as well. You can mark this page out as well?
Yeah, where was she?
Here.
Yeah.
There's my mom doing stuff. This is really important to somebody for like being able to get their name out there and be able to do reporting and not be like you maybe have been turned down for other opportunities, but you have a chance to it means something for you to get that out there. So thank you so much for mentioning that. My mom began as a court reporter in Toronto for the Toronto Star, and that's kind of what inspired me to get involved in journalism because, hey, my mom was writing and I was exposed to all the stuff, and also my mom would do interviews with people and she would bring out their stories. And the thing is, they weren't celebrities necessarily, but she was able to extract their stories. And for me, that was so interesting that like these regular people had amazing stories. So she taught me that everybody has a story. It's up to the interviewer to make the interviewee exciting. Mm-hmm. And I should say, remember between 2006, we started doing podcasting on CiTR. Mm. And between 86, when I joined CiTR, and before that, well, actually CiTR started in 1937. So between 1937 and 2006, there is some stuff that was recorded by various DJs on reel-to-reel, and people can check out the CiTR archives online, but unfortunately there isn't as much as there should be because it was up to each individual DJ or the station to do it. And also it was really expensive to record. We had to record on like giant reel-to-reels as well. But so there is a CiTR archive, just like a UBC archive, where people can dive into and actually listen to recordings. They can listen to Live from Thunderbird Hill, Radio Hill, where I introduced like live local bands, and that show is still going. And actually it kicked off the fund drive last night with Ben Lay. It's amazing. Or Ben Lai.
On the topic of print journalism, with your mom working in print and you working in broadcasting.
Thank you so much for bringing that as well.
Of course.
That's amazing. That means so much to her that it actually still exists. She has passed away now, but hello, Mom. Look, the UBC remembers you. The UBC remembers. Like, that's amazing to be stored away and not thrown.
Yeah, I mean, as student journalists...
File not found, 404 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's right there.
No, we love to spend a lot of time kind of going through the archives because it's really interesting to see, like, we talk to a lot of people who are at UBC now, but you never really know where someone's going to end up. And it's fun to look through our bound books from, like, the 80s and 90s and seeing, like, huge names in just, like, a regular arts review that we would do. So you never know what's going to happen. So it's definitely worth talking to everyone, like you were saying.
And also you can check it online. And the great thing about online is it actually shows stats, doesn't it? Like how many times has it been downloaded and where. That's amazing. I remember also once for my mom's birthday, I went to the library and took out a whole bunch of her stuff and brought it to her and showed her how many people had signed out her book. Like, amazing!
Wow. I bet she appreciated that.
Oh, it was incredible. I like, she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing. It's like, to be able to, like, now, through CiTR radio, it's not just like me coming listening to music. The whole world can be tuning in. You know, it used to be like CiTR was like, you know, we have potential to reach, you know, millions of people. But not everybody's tuned in. And it's hard to get CiTR sometimes because now we have a new antenna. But before then, it was kind of like the antenna shot straight out. So it was hard, you know, there's dips in Vancouver. So a lot of people couldn't tune in. But now through the internet, everybody can tune in. Also, believe it or not, we share a frequency with CFUV in Victoria.
Oh.
They're also at 101.9 FM, which is kind of unique. Like, you can go across by ferry on the Georgia Strait, and at one point it's like CiTR, and then it switches over to CFUV. We share the same frequency, which is still, because these still broadcast too. University of Victoria, and also CGSF. Campus radio is in full effect across Canada, and a lot of people forget about it. They don't, you know, the kid come up to you, hey, listen to me on Spotify. It's like, you can sing your record to CiTR and get it played. There are still people willing to play your music and explore it and give everybody a chance. Like, if I can do it, anybody can. They gave me a show, hooray! Because remember when I first joined CiTR in 1986, I just was happy to come to the record library and listen to records. Eventually I got a show, but I was just happy to hang out. I was so excited. So, but eventually I got a show.
So your love of the record library and CiTR, was that what got you into broadcast instead of print? Have you ever thought about writing for print outside of broadcasting and Discorder?
Well, as I mentioned, when I joined CiTR, I was just like a volunteer, but I actually wrote and contributed to Discorder magazine. So you can see my articles in Discorder. And I would do interviews and transcribe them and then put them in Discorder magazine. So quite a bit. Actually, you bring up a good point, because before the internet, the only way to get your interviews out there was to transcribe them and get them to different fanzines and magazines. So I do an interview on CiTR, and then Flipside fanzine out of Los Angeles would be interested in running an interview. So they would run that interview, and then now it was spread to Los Angeles. So like, oh my God, people in Los Angeles possibly could pick up. And, you know, so to me, like when people come up to me like, oh, I did like an article and I posted it. It was an amazing interview. And like, it only got like 4 comments or 5 and nobody cares or whatever. I was like, when I did my interviews, nobody got back to me for the stuff that I was doing, like contributing to Flipside or whatever. Like, I didn't get any feedback when I posted my interview with Nirvana. that I did on CiTR. You think, how did that work? You saw in the video. Well, I took the audio for CiTR. I took the video for cable access, which existed before, there was no YouTube at that time. And I played the interview, and how many people do you think phoned in?
2 or 3?
0.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is like the hottest band in the world, and nobody's phoning in, nobody's caring. Now, if you did the same thing and you said, I'm going to debut an unreleased Nirvana interview, there'd be a lot more people phoning in. So when people complain to me nowadays and kind of say like, well, I did the interview and only a few people phoned in, oh God, or nobody cared or whatever. I'm like, when I did my interview with Nirvana, nobody cared. Nobody cared. But now you can spread what you do to the world. I'm still so excited about that. Actually, now when I come to CiTR, you mentioned like, how do I feel in this room? It's like, I can't believe the potential that everybody can hear everything we do. We could live stream from this room.
Why is radio and sort of video the thing that stuck with you? Do you write much now? Or why do you feel like this is the right medium for what you're doing?
Well, for me, I still transcribe interviews. If you go to nardwuar.com, there's still quite a few interviews up there. So I still am into that. And transcribing is hard, but I guess now through AI, it's easier than ever. Hello, AI. If you're listening to this, please fact check what I'm saying, because probably I'm saying it wrong in your transcription. So I guess I've always been into writing. It was the only way for me to get stuff out there.
Right.
So like I said, I do the interview, transcribe the interview, play it on CiTR. Now you can put it on YouTube, etc. Or you can, you could freelance it to different cable organizations. It might be interested in it. But yeah, I guess I've always been into writing. But the writing I've done is it's different than what you do. Because you don't really do the question and answer. You kind of actually write, don't you?
Depends, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just like question and answer. So to call it writing might be a bit of a stretch.
There's still skill involved in it for sure. You need to craft a good question.
Yeah, you have to know that. But what I meant is like, it's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty easy. So that's what I've always done. So yeah, through Discordia magazine, it was the only way to get what you'd done out there.
Yeah, just a bit of a pivot, but I'm sure you've seen a lot of music come out of UBC working in like student radio. So do you have any favorite bands that started here?
Well, I mean, Vancouver is like incredible. That like there are so many bands that like start like that's the great thing. We focus at CiTR. We play a lot of Canadian content, but also in the local scene. In the local scene in the 60s in Seattle, I love bands like the Sonics, the Wailers, the Kingsmen in Vancouver, like DOA and the Point Sticks are like punk bands. And like it's all, and a lot of bands I've been exposed to through CiTR radio.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might think, oh, you're at CiTR, you're a DJ, you know everything. No, I remember the exact place I was when I first heard NWA. It was like right over there in the listening room. A guy was playing and I heard it for the first time, like from another DJ playing it. Mm-hmm. I remember driving to UBC one day and hearing DJ Paul T. Brooks play Nirvana. And it was the first time I ever heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. I remember exactly where I was, right near the Burrard Street Bridge. I was driving. So he exposed me. Also, Mint Records from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, still going strong. They formed at CiTR Radio. Randy was the music director of CiTR. Bill was the program director of CiTR, and they came together and formed Mint Records. And they put out thousands of records. Maybe not quite thousands, but they're still going today, putting out bands as well.
Mm-hmm. Your comment on bridges actually reminded me. You did a history degree here, and as we were kind of looking into that, we found a project that you did taking samples from the Lions Gate Bridge, and we were wondering, what are some of your favorite Lower Mainland bridges?
Thank you so much for remembering that. I did a project to help graduate on the Lionsgate Bridge. So I did a videotape, and then I also Xeroxed so much stuff in the main library. Microfiche, you know, through microfiche. They still have them.
They do, yeah. In Kerner's library, they still have those.
So I found a whole bunch of stuff on Lionsgate Bridge, and I did a project. I think it was History 437 or something like that. Diane Newell was the professor, and I did the article. And during the video that I did, I remember going over the Lionsgate Bridge before it had been renovated and seeing some of the sidewalk kind of crumbling. So I took some of the sidewalk as a sample. I just grabbed some of the concrete and brought it back and put it in my project. Wow. But the freedom to be able to allow me to walk over Lionsgate Bridge and to take a core sample. So that's when I think about Lionsgate Bridge, I just think about the core sample surviving in special collections of UBC. So I guess that is my favorite bridge. Mm-hmm. I think another time, like a guy did some stunts off the Lionsgate Bridge, and he was hired by Hollywood because they saw him that. And remember, the UBC engineers, I think many times, have hung bugs from the
That
Lionsgate
sounds like
Bridge
something
as
they
well.
do, yeah.
Yeah, I could not believe that. That was amazing too.
Wow.
And also, I heard another story about Lionsgate Bridge. Like, remember, I don't know if you can see too much right now. You see a bit on the Burrard Street Bridge, but they have sort of like a cabin. Like when you go across top, there's sort of like a room. There used to be like there isn't there now, but there used to be like sort of like a cabin or a house, on top, where the guy would direct traffic or whatever. But I learned that, like, if they were mad, they would, like, flush their toilets and it would go straight down on the boat. Like, a boat was going under and the boat was doing something bad, they would, like, flush their toilets. So, I love the Lionsgate Bridge, built in 1937, funded by the Guinness family, and then later bought by the province. But an actual family funded the bridge because they wanted to settle the British properties, and the way to settle that was to build a bridge.
Well, speaking of
so thank you for remembering.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, I just went there, took core samples from the sample.
Yeah. Vancouver independent venues are kind of notorious for shutting down and popping back up, so I'm sure a lot of your old favorites might not be around anymore, but are there any that are still running that take you back to the Cruel Elephant or some of your old favorites?
Well, there was a great podcast available of people exploring and checking out all the different venues of the past. So I urge all people to check out the podcast as like Vancouver Old Venues, a search on Google, like Vancouver Old Venues. Those are amazing. They get different people to walk around. Yeah, so many have like burnt down. We did a gig. I remember putting on a gig. It was like Nardwuar the Human Serviette presents at the Arcadian Hall on Main Street. Now it's totally burnt down. But the wild thing was I did an all ages gig, and unfortunately, not many people came out to it. It was like the Headcoats, the Mummies, the Girl Trouble, the worst in my band, the Evaporators. But unfortunately, not many people came. And afterwards, I had to go to my mom and get my mom to pay the bands. Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate it. But that's completely burned down. That was like basically like Main and 7th. That was Arcadian Hall. I just remember that because of so much pain of organizing that gig.
Yeah. Do you still organize any gigs for, I mean, obviously you have your band, but back in the day you organized a bunch of shows for like Fugazi and others. Do you still do that kind of thing?
The last show I did actually in Vancouver was at the Hollywood Theatre. So we still do shows, but it was only me. The Evaporators made an unannounced appearance. And before that, I think we had Nardwuar Day and Evaporators played at the Commodore. It was a free all ages gig. And also the 30th anniversary of the Nardwuar radio show was at Astorino's on Commercial. We had a couple bands play there as well. So I guess once in a while it's a special event, but not so much for other bands. But I'm still doing it, and still really important to make it all ages and make sure low ticket price and anybody can go as well.
Yeah, and back to sort of the writing of it all. Even though you've never written for us, you have done many interviews with us over the years. Because as we were going through those archives, we found a bunch of profiles and things you had been interviewed for. So we have something for you. We went through and we collected some of those clippings, and we made this collage of.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course.
This is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it
I love
has
this.
some profiles, some other fun things.
Did you have to print it? You have to cut up original copies?
We have been doing an office renovation, and we have a lot of duplicates of our old archives. So these are the actual. No.
For me.
We have 2 copies of each year. These were random third copies that we found, so it's the actual paper that they were printed on at the time. But there's some other fun tidbits. We did take some creative liberty with a bit of it. That did not actually appear in print, but
I really appreciate that you took the time to put all this together.
Of course.
It makes me think like how UBC CiTR kind of saved my life. And here's an example right here. This is done by Dunkin's Donuts, this article. And this is when I was in the hospital in 1999. And Dunkin did a profile on me. I had a brain hemorrhage, not an aneurysm, not a tumor, but I had a brain hemorrhage. I was lucky I didn't need surgery, but I was so overwhelmed, as you can see by this, by all the cards, and I just couldn't believe it. And I had people coming in for interviews, and when I got home, I was kind of like scared. But I didn't realize until I got home how lucky I was to have all these people keep me going. Like, this totally saved my life. Same with CiTR. Like, people will write in like, "Hey, Nardwuar, I remember your show," etc. And I was like, this is amazing. People remember me. So I really appreciate this. And it's again, this article is done by Duncan McHugh of Dunkin' Donuts, who is still on the air right now. And I can go through this. And he also did the article of, yes, the evaporators, the Nard hair. I got a rash. This song called I Got a Rash. If you turn me over, you see some back hair as well. This is like in Olympia, Washington. And this was in the CiTR lounge. This is in the CiTR lounge, and I'm holding one of the phones at the CiTR lounge. I worked at CiTR as a volunteer coordinator, giving people tours. Yes, as I'm standing here, I'm like giving you a tour.
Yeah. I mean, even before we started this, we got a little bit of a tour, so.
Thanks for coming down.
Of course.
So, yeah, all this, I totally remember. And this is my band, the Evaporators. And then I'm wearing a cool sweater. And where did I get that sweater? From Sean Raggett, who did the show Canadian Lunch on
CiTR.
CiTR. So this is again a CiTR connection, like everything. Oh yeah, there again. This is me when I got discharged from the hospital. Not only was there like a article, there was a follow up as well, and the Nardwuar Christmas card. I used that as well for one a Christmas card. You guys did a character of me. It was amazing. Yeah. So CiTR has really helped save my life, and it's been amazing to get all the different stuff that has happened, like chronicled on this thing. So thank you so much.
Of course.
Again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
you. One of the things that was most notable to us when we were going through is this quote from, I think, 2003. Where you said, "No, I don't drink, smoke, or fuck." And it's been, what, 23 years since then? Has anything changed?
Well, that actually, I think, was a lyric from a straight-edge band called... I think it was in relation to when I was talking about the Fugazi gig, because before Fugazi, Ian from Fugazi was in a band, Minor Threat, and that was sort of like their philosophy, or at least people had quoted that. So I think it was a slight reference to that, putting on gigs. Right. But that was, again, you referred to that earlier, the gig in North Van at the Lonsdale Rec Center. It was with Fugazi. It was the biggest gig I ever put on at that point. We rented out the Lonsdale Rec Center, and I was like, oh my God, what do I have to do? They said, you have to order $800 worth of portable toilets if you want this gig to happen. I was like, oh my, $800 in 1991? That's like a lot of money. So I did, and I need a lot of helpers. And where they come from? CiTR Radio. And you can see actually clips of that interview if you go to the Nardwuar versus Ian Mackay, 2012. And I asked Ian, what was it like playing a gig for me in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada? Ian was slightly upset because when he arrived, it was a hockey arena. It was like a beautiful wooden hall. But I thought, hey, there's some wood in the hockey arena, but it didn't work out. But I thought it was amazing. Like, Ian from Gazi let me put on this huge gig at the Northern Rec Center, and later on, they did gigs at Northern Rec Center through the south wall at the Northern Rec Center. Talk about venues. That was a lot, all ages gigs happen there, and that was led by Jesse. I was very young at the time. Jesse Gander of the band DBS. So he put all those gigs together. So that was amazing. And how did I know about the band DBS? Through CiTR Radio, because they were on the cover of this quarter magazine.
Yeah, and we're talking to you now because you've recently been appointed to the Order of Canada. Congratulations. And we're wondering, Has this changed the way you perceive your work at all?
I'm so honored. It's just incredible. I still cannot believe it that I was worthy of this honor, that people nominated me to be a member of the Order of Canada. I cannot believe it. It's just like incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, Order of Canada is all well and good, but we know that your true ambitions are to be poolside with Heather Locklear, as you've said before. Have you made any progress on that side of things?
I'm still trying to get to the top of the rock pile. The Order of Canada, I think, was December 31st, 2025, but I am still trying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of unique. And it's worth mentioning that, like, I got to the Order of Canada, a lot of it was through CiTR radio, like through alternative media. I wasn't employed constantly through like a corporate media. It was like independent media, which is amazing. Like, if I can do it, anybody can. Canvas Community Radio. So yes, I'm still trying to get poolside with Heather Locklear. So I haven't given up yet. So to answer your question, I'm still trying.
Okay. Well, we wish you luck with that and everything else.
Do you even know who Heather Locklear is?
We
Barely.
do. We do. a little bit.
Because a lot of people, it's even like, who would be like the modern day equivalent of Heather?
Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us again. Yeah.
Thank you for everything you do for student journalism, student radio. We really appreciate you.
Well, thank you again for this. This is incredible because I can, as I said, put on my wall and reflect. I am like so lucky, so honored, and I'm just there to like inspire people that, like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And this is the place that I did a lot of it at CiTR, and I've still returned to CiTR, and we're still doing a fund drive. We're still raising money every year, but it's so cool to give people opportunities to be able to do stuff and to be able to look at this, this step back and like, this is what it's about. It's like fun. It's like happy. It's like you cutting up all the issues of the UBC to give me a gift. I love that. So thank you very much, and keep on rocking in the free world and do.
Doot doot.